everybody. It's Tuesday, so doing one of these today is a little unusual, and even more unusual because I have these here and I have this here. This morning I received the news that somebody that I knew for a long time passed away. And this particular person was a big part in my young adult days, shall we say. And his name was Jim Vines. Some of you here in America have heard me speak of him and tell some of the stories Jim and I had from the years. But unfortunately he's passed away now. And today I was going to do some studying, but I'm just not going to do it. In fact, a lot of this probably will be gone today. Well, what can I say about Jim? Well, we had a real weird relationship. Now, Jim had 3 daughters. And when I came onto the scene, after not that long of a time, I suppose, you know, Jim said to me one day that I was the son that he never had. And kind of on reflection, you know, I kind of returned the compliment to say that he was the dad that really I never had, because my dad wasn't in my life very much. So we became, it was like I got a little older and he got a little younger. And we started doing all these things, and I have a million stories we must have driven Pam, his wife, crazy. God knows, you know, why she's not a mental case by now because of the things that we got up to. But there are so many stories that spring to mind. But the reason I have these here, and this is the first thing you know, I want to talk about, and that's basically he taught me to play this game. And I never forget it. We were sitting in his backyard having a barbecue, and we were talking about the game of golf. I'd never picked up one of these in my life. You know, I'd never swung a golf club, and I'd never even held one. I didn't even know why they were numbered. And we were sitting in the backyard one day, and he was talking about how far he could hit the ball. Well, he could. He had this weird swing, and he just hit the ball just 300 yards was no problem for him. So I said to him one day, I can do that. I'll outdrive you. Big mouth, you know. So he said, all right, let's go try. So there was a driving range, it's probably not there anymore, in a place called Elmer's End, which is in Beckenham, in Kent. And we went down there, and I think out of 100 balls, I may have hit 4. And it was pathetic. So he took me to the golf course, which was Beckenham Place Park, which probably is not there anymore. This was his golf club. This was he was a member there. And we went out with his, I think it was his, now let me think about this. It was Pam's brother, so it was his brother-in-law. Rusty was his name. And I turned up with Jim one day on a Saturday morning, and Rusty said, oh, he's not coming out with us, because I fired balls everywhere. I mean, they were going in every direction. But Jim said no. He said, we will have to learn once. It's his turn. We're going to teach him this game. So many weeks went by, and I was getting a little bit better. Once I got my coordination right, it wasn't too bad. But I didn't drive it very far. My putting was awful. My short game was just ridiculous. So then what they all did, and I don't know the reason why it changed, but they moved from Beckenham Place Park to a place called Cherry Lodge up in Biggin Hill. And that was a really nice club. I mean, Beckenham Place was nice, but this was on a completely different plane. And every month again, they used to have the club competition, and there was money involved up there in them days. And I couldn't play because I wasn't a member there, and it was almost like a closed shop up there. But then one day, we were down at his house having dinner or something, and he said, you know, there's a spot open for this weekend's competition if you want to play, but you've got to come out with me so I can keep an eye on you. And I said, yeah, I'd love to come up, no problem. So, yeah, so I got a set of clubs and we went up there. Now, one of the things that Jim always won, because when you have a competition, you have a competition within a competition. And it was like nearest the pin, and the next one was the furthest drive, and blah, blah. But anyway, he always won the furthest drive because he just knocked it out of sight. And those of you that play golf, I don't know if many of you do out there, but every time you hit a ball, 1 time out of 10, everything is perfect. Your swing is perfect, your stance is perfect, you connect with the ball perfect, the trajectory is perfect, the conditions are perfect, and today was my day. Well, we were on this par 5, which is quite a long hole, and this is the one where the longest drive competition was being held. So whoever hit the ball the furthest, when you found your ball, you put a little marker with your name on it, and that was it. And we were on the tee, and the ground went down a little bit. It went down into a little valley. So he gets up there with his big ping bag and his big ping clubs, and he gets a driver out, and he smashes this thing. And like normal, it goes completely out of sight. And he's always won the longest drive, so nobody was surprised. So then it was my turn. So I get my driver out. It wasn't these clubs, obviously, but it was clubs that I had years ago that were not the greatest clubs in the world, but you know, I was just a hacker of them anyway. And this particular day, it was perfect. And I hit this ball, and it went in a dead straight line, and it went over the hill. And he looked at me, and I looked at him, and I just went, ah. Anyway, by the time we got to the balls, I had outdriven him by about this much. He was pissed. And everyone was, the group we were in, they're all saying, what? Whoa, and they're taking the piss out of him and they never let him forget it for the rest of the round. And he was miserable. So we get back to the game's over, we get back to the clubhouse. And the longest drive competition in them days was £50, which is about $75 now, which was a lot of money. So you're all having your dinner and hey, you got win, you win this, you win that. And they called my name for the longest drive. Well, when they called my name, no one knew who I was. And they're all looking at me and saying, well, why didn't Jim win it? And they're all ragging on him. Now there must have been 80 golfers there, and they're just giving him a bad time. So I went up there to get my little envelope with the £50 in it. And as I get it, and I'm shaking the guy's hand, Jim stands up. He says, wait a minute. He says, I taught you the game, and now I'm going to challenge you to double or quits. So what he was going to do was put his own £50 in, and we were going to go out and do this again. So everyone was now getting kind of excited about this, because they didn't know who I was, but they knew who he was. And he always won it, and who the hell is this guy? So we went back out to the par 5. Everyone came out. We had 80 people around the tee box, which was kind of intimidating. So he gets up there with his ping bag and his ping clubs and his ping ball, puts it down, boom, out of sight, just like normal. And I thought, well, I'm gonna have to give him 50 plus a 50. And for me, £50 in them days was quite a lot. So I put my ball down. I used the same club, and I did everything that it was like replay. And I hit this thing, and again, it went dead straight, went over the hill. We all jumped in our carts, and we all went racing off down the fairway. And when we got there, I'd outdriven him by 2 feet this time. Well, of course, the place erupted. Back to the clubhouse, we're drinking drinks and stuff like that, and I got the £50, and then he gave me £50, which I'm sure Pam didn't know about, but he gave me £50. And I gave that £50 to Tracy, and she actually bought Chinese dinner for everybody that night. So yeah, it didn't go anywhere. But anyway, He taught me this game, and every time I go on the tee box, almost every time, I just have a flashback to old Jim Vine standing there saying, do this, put your toes in, hold your grip better, look where you're going to aim, open the club face, close the club face, shaft down, shaft up. All that stuff just goes through here. So that was that story. Now, another story to do with the golf course, and God knows how we didn't get arrested for this. Anyway, he had 3 daughters, and his middle daughter, Sarah, she's the one that drove. Janine couldn't drive at the time, she was too young, and Tracy didn't drive because she never wanted to. But anyway, Sarah was a maniac with cars. She used to go through cars like I go through Coca-Cola or whatever. And she had this one car, and it seemed like every weekend Jim and I were down the back of the yard, in the backyard, in the garage there. We've got the engine out, or the transmission, or the brakes are off, the clutch is out, or something's going on with this car. Because every time she drove it, something happened to it. And it was a Ford Capri, a green one. And she wanted another car. She'd had enough of this thing. Frankly, so had we, to be honest. So she couldn't get any money for it. It wasn't worth a bucket. It wasn't worth anything. But she wanted to upgrade a bit and go and get something else. I can't remember what she got. But anyway, she tried selling it and nobody would buy it. And it was just becoming a real thorn in our sides. In the meantime, while she was trying to sell it, it kept breaking down. It was because of the way she was driving. I still maintain that to this day. Terrible driver. Anyway, so we're working on this damn thing. It's like every weekend we're up to our eyeballs in oil and shit. And we're all sick of it. And we're under the hood one afternoon. We're trying to figure out why this thing ain't firing on all 4 cylinders. Can't figure it out. We thought the head gasket had gone, or the piston had got a hole in it, or some bloody thing. Then there was water in the oil, and it was just, oh God. So, now I don't know who said it. I don't know if Jim said it to me, or if I said it to him. But one of us said, well look, let's just set fire to the damn thing and she can have the insurance. And then one of us said, that's a good idea, but where are we going to do this? We can't do it around here. So again, I'm not sure how it transpired, and I'm not sure whose idea it was, but we needed to find somewhere open where not many people are, and to do this deed. And we came up with an idea of doing it on a golf course at night. So, and again, I don't know why, but we picked the golf course, the one in Addington. So, we left one night. I was in on it. He was in on it. Sarah was in on it. And so was Tracy. Nobody else was. Pam wasn't. She had no clue. So we drove this thing up to the golf course. It was like, I don't know, 10 o'clock at night. No, it wasn't that late. It was probably about 9ish. And we got it onto the golf course, and we went out in the middle of one of the big fairways there. I drove the Capri. He drove the Cortina, I think he had. He had a yellow Cortina, I think, at the time. And in my car, I had like 4 or 5 gallons of gasoline, car gasoline. So we get it parked, it's completely black. It is pitch black. And we park the car on the fairway, and I pour gasoline all over the car, all of it, 5 gallons of gas. It was all over the place. And I had some in a bottle. So I had gasoline in a bottle like this with a rag in it. And I lit the rag, and I got hold of the bottle, and I threw it at the car. Well, I was maybe 15 feet away from the car. Jim was a lot further back. Well, because the fumes had come, because of the gasoline fumes, when the bottle got within fume range, which was 8 or 9 feet from the car, this thing went up like a atomic bomb. It blew me off my feet. I had no eyebrows. All my eyebrows were gone, and all my hair was singed up here. And this fireball just exploded. Also, the fairway caught fire. The whole fairway caught fire. So we jumped in the car, and what we didn't realise is where we were, the fairway went round the corner just a little bit, and that's where the clubhouse was. Well, that particular night, we didn't know, they were having their annual general meeting. And they look at, and they saw this massive fireball go up. Well, we raced. I was driving he made me drive. We raced across the fairway. We were spinning wheels and sliding all. Not that it mattered, because the fairway was burnt to hell anyway. And we got out the golf course through the woods, through the back of the woods, got onto the road, and as we're driving home, racing home, coming the other way was the fire engine. And then the next day, there was this word got around that there's this burnt out Capri, and it was in the newspaper, burnt out Capri sitting on the middle of the fairway. Well, then Sarah, obviously we knew, and then I think Pam had some suspicions. So then Sarah reported the car stolen because we took the plates off it. And she was a police officer, for crying out loud. So she got her insurance. That was all good. So that was that story. And then one more that comes to mind that was kind of funny. We all went down to Portugal for a vacation. We went to a place called Albufeira, and we were in the resort there, and a couple of things actually on that particular trip. One of them was we went to this restaurant for paella, and it was one of these restaurants where you can look through and see the kitchen staff cooking away there. So this paella came out. I'd never seen it or had paella before, and I didn't really care for it very much. So I started complaining, and there was a guy there who spoke. The waiter guy spoke really good English, and he was saying, well, "What do you want? What do you want?" And I said, "Well, da, da, da." Anyway, I'm bitching and moaning, and then Jim said, "Well, if you think you can do better, go do it." And this waiter, he heard that, and he said, "Yeah, come on, let's go." So they dragged me into the kitchen, and all of this was on old cine film. I had an old cine camera, and I'm back there, and I got the big chef's hat, and I'm cooking away and doing all this stuff. Well, I spilled something somewhere, and the whole kitchen just goes up in flames. Everyone's leaving and running out and going out. In fact, one of the people in the restaurant, Sarah, if you remember, it was the guy from Queen. Who's the guitarist with Queen? I can't remember his name. But yeah, he walked in, remember? He walked in. Can't remember his name. But anyway, that was that. So I've got a bazillion stories. Jim and I had 3 boats, and 2 of them sunk out there down in Cornwall. We went out in the ocean with these things, and we hit something or did something, but down they went. We had to swim back. Just so many good fun memories I had with that guy, and it's a sad day that he's gone. So Jim, this is your favorite drink, brandy. This is unopened. I've actually had this for since about last September actually, and it's my best brandy. So I know you're watching. There we go. I cracked the seal. I can never open these damn cans. This is 7-Up, but it was brandy and lemonade that we drank. Man, did we get shit-faced sometimes. Not going to drown it. So, thanks for the memories. Thanks for the game. And you guys, Pam and Sarah and Janine and the rest of you, it's okay. Because you know who came to get him, don't you? And it's all right. See you, Jim. Have fun wherever you are. Thanks. Damn, that's good. That's it. See ya.